My name is Samuel Munyuwing. I'm the Executive Director of African Institute for Children's Studies. We have been in existence since the year 2009, and we have a presence in Kenya, Uganda, and South Sudan. We're currently working on registration in countries like Zimbabwe and Rwanda. Our inspiration was this talk I had with a director, a programs officer from UNHCR way back in 2008, when she mentioned that she could not find trainers on who are very conversant about children issues and who could serve anywhere in the continent. And that inspired me and my colleague then, who is now our chairman, that's Kokubo Barasa, a lecturer at Nairobi University, to try and provide solutions of a one-stop shop where people can find knowledge on what do I do about what I want to intervene on to improve the well-being of a child in this continent, and also who are these people and how can they keep improving the quality of services that they offer out there. As you may have come across, there are many people who try to do something for a child. The most common reaction, say, to a child without a parent is to have a children's institution. But that usually is the wrong thing to do. But of course, many of us do that because they don't know what is the right thing and they don't know where to find the right information. So African Institute for Children's Studies was precisely formed to do that, to bring together this team of experts, make them available to others, where they will have sharpened each other through in-house training programs, through exposure in work environment, and that, I must say, has really brought in quality work even among our associates. In our structure, we do have experts who are theoreticians. These are academicians who are working in various institutions, universities. We currently have people drawn from University of Nairobi, from Makerere University, from Daystar University, and they come in to bring the theory aspect to improve the quality of services that are offered by the practitioners. We do have a pool of about 32 associates. These are experts in various aspects, from child protection, child rights, family studies, parent coaching programs that we've collaborated with other institutions in the US to deliver. And they're able to do policy work. They're advocates. They work with various NGOs, and that's the kind of expertise that we want to not only pull together, but be able to peer review each other and sharpen how they work. Like I've mentioned, we've been here for about 5 years now, and with presence in the 3 countries. The thing that really motivates us, the gap that we keep noticing, is that even within the governments, the children officers that are employed, for example, are not many times having any special training. It's just having a course on social work or child development does not necessarily prepare you to handle children emergency, as an example. And you do need an in-house and continuing sort of education to prepare you to do a better job. And that gap continues to be very clear. There have been studies that have been done recently showing in the East African region, for example, that we don't even have standards on when do you say someone is supposed to be a child worker, when is someone supposed to provide psychosocial support services. And while there are attempts here and there is need to have a one-stop shop, and that is what African Institute is providing. As we roll out our AICS Training Institute, which will be dedicated towards that, we do believe that we will provide an opportunity to address that gap. The other gap that we've noticed in the region, and especially in the continent, is that a lot of interventions that are done to support the well-being of children is not evidence-informed. In other words, there's no research that backs a program that has been started. And this runs across both government and non-governmental institutions. And this is one bit that we have been making every attempt to address. We've collaborated with institutions to do operational research, and we do hope that through such information provided, we can then improve the quality of services that are offered to children. Naturally, you don't leave it at that. You want to make sure that this evidence that is generated informs policy and legislations. And at present, African Institute has worked with groups like in Ethiopia, the Child Forum that has attempted to map out the policies and the landscape around policies. And this, we want to believe, are one of those platforms that we want to work with to influence the kind of policies we do generate across the continent and in various countries. We also are working on the Sustainable Development Goal. We just got it launched in September. And at the UN General Assembly, and of course most countries did make commitments, one of the departure that will be there is that countries will not be looking up to the West or to donors to try and improve the welfare of their children. They themselves, the local stakeholders, the experts who are Africans themselves, the African governments will be responsible in trying to identify what is priority, what are the appropriate action plans to be done. And African Institute is already working with stakeholders in Kenya. We are providing our secretariat services to a number of NGOs, including World Vision, Plan International, Child Fund, and Terre des Hommes, and a host of other local and international organizations, to be able to come up with very domesticated interventions that will address the needs of the child in this continent. And this, we want to believe, will make a big difference. One other intervention that we found very important was that of supporting the education of children. We are all who we are because someone gave us an opportunity. And we have what I would say is a good practice, that 10% of any resources that we make or we earn from consultancies, we pay school fees for children. It's sort of a tithing, if you want to call it that. And so far we've supported more than 39 children in Kenya with at least $150 worth of school fees, one-off per year. And we want to believe that if each institution that is in private sector, or even those organizations that are making some income, allocated and dedicated a certain percentage of their income, including our own households, if individual houses took up a responsibility and apportioned part of their income, we'll be able to go along in supporting many vulnerable children, because we know there are huge gaps, even despite the universal primary education that is being implemented by most governments, and including the Kenyan government and the Ugandan government. There's still gaps, issues of food, issues of school uniform, tuition, and such. So we're trying to bridge that gap through the AICS Education Fund, and we want to invite many other people who can join us, who can create their own fund, so that we can support many more children. Going forward, we just want to emphasize that there will be need for more evidence-informed interventions. And so I want to encourage that let's work together with the other universities. You encourage to collaborate with the African Institute to conduct more training, to conduct more research, and more importantly, to be able to look at who is going to work with the child. Can we vet this person? Can we have guidelines? Because we also are very aware of pedophiles and other people who are sex pests, so to say, who are abusing children, that needs to be protected. So with this, we want to believe that we are responding to very urgent and very strategic needs and efforts that need to be done to improve the well-being of children, and that partnership with government, partnership between CSOs, civil society organizations, is paramount to having active and very effective intervention to protect children in the continent.